Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, wow, my hair's really changed over the years? Maybe it's thinner, drier, or just doesn't seem to grow like it used to. You might even have a few spots that look, well, a little sparse. Don't worry, you're not alone. Hair has this quiet way of reflecting what's going on inside our bodies, especially as we age. It's like a messenger that doesn't speak in words, but in texture, color, and strength. And after 70, your hair might be trying to tell you something important about your health. Now, before we dive in, let me just say, this video isn't about vanity. It's not about covering up grays or finding the best shampoo on the market. This is about understanding what your hair is trying to say about your body's inner workings, and how you can respond with habits that support not just healthier hair, but a healthier you. And trust me, you'll want to stick around until the end, because the last tip we cover, it might just surprise you. It's not something you hear every day, but it could make a world of difference. But first, just a quick disclaimer before we begin. This video is for informational purposes only, and is based on publicly available research. Everyone's health is different, so always consult your doctor or a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your lifestyle, diet, or exercise routine. Scientific knowledge is always evolving, and what works for one person may not work for another. Alright, let's get into it. Let's start with something a lot of US notice: hair thinning. It's one of the most common changes we experience as we get older. For many people, this can start as early as their 50s, but by the time we hit our 70s, it often becomes more noticeable. You might find more hair in your brush or see more of your scalp when you look in the mirror. Now, what's interesting is that this isn't always just normal aging. Yes, aging plays a role, but hair thinning can also signal nutritional deficiencies, hormone imbalances, or even underlying conditions like thyroid disorders. Take iron, for example. Many older adults, especially women, have low iron levels, sometimes without realizing it. Iron helps carry oxygen to your hair follicles, and when you're low, your hair can become brittle and start falling out more easily. According to a study published in the Journal of Korean Medical Science, iron deficiency is strongly linked to chronic hair loss, even in people without anemia. So if your hair is thinning faster than expected, it might be time to get your iron levels checked. And it's not just iron. Vitamin D is another big one. It helps regulate the growth cycles of hair follicles. A 2019 study published in Dermatology and Therapy found that people with hair loss often have significantly lower levels of vitamin D. That's a pretty powerful clue. And the good news is, it's easy to get tested and supplement if needed. I remember talking with a woman named Barbara. She's 74 and full of energy. She'd always had thick, wavy hair, but over a couple of years, it started thinning dramatically. She thought it was just normal aging, but after a routine blood test, her doctor found that she was both vitamin D deficient and low in ferritin, the protein that stores iron. Once she started addressing those deficiencies with her doctor's guidance, she noticed her hair wasn't shedding as much. More importantly, she told me, "I just feel better, more alert, more alive." See, that's the thing. Hair changes aren't just cosmetic. They can be the canary in the coal mine, so to speak. They give us clues, and when we listen, we can take action that improves our overall health. Another signal to pay attention to is hair texture. If your hair suddenly becomes dry, coarse, or breaks easily, it might not just be your shampoo. One possible culprit? Your thyroid. Thyroid hormones are like the managers of your metabolism, and they affect almost every part of your body, including your hair. When the thyroid is underactive, a condition known as hypothyroidism, your hair can become dry, thin, and brittle. And it's surprisingly common in older adults, especially women. According to the American Thyroid Association, nearly 1 in 8 women will develop a thyroid disorder in their lifetime, and the risk increases with age. If you've been feeling tired, gaining weight, or dealing with constipation or dry skin on top of hair changes, it might be worth checking your thyroid function. A simple blood test can give you and your doctor a lot of useful information. And then there's the color of your hair. Now, let's be honest, graying is completely natural. In fact, many people start going gray in their 30s or 40s. But if you've noticed rapid graying or changes in pigment that seem sudden, it might be worth paying attention to. Some research suggests that oxidative stress, basically an imbalance between free radicals and antioxidants in your body, can accelerate the graying process. It's also linked to aging-related diseases like cardiovascular issues and cognitive decline. One study from the University of Alabama found that oxidative stress damages the cells that produce melanin, the pigment responsible for hair color. While this doesn't mean gray hair is dangerous, it does remind us how important antioxidant-rich foods can be as we age. Think colorful fruits, leafy greens, nuts, seeds, all those vibrant, whole foods your body loves. So if you're noticing more silver strands lately, don't panic. Instead, ask yourself, am I fueling my body with the kind of nutrition that fights inflammation and oxidative stress? I'll never forget meeting Paul, a 76-year-old retired teacher who looked 10 years younger than his age. I asked him what his secret was, and he smiled and said, "I eat the rainbow every day." What he meant was, he made sure to include lots of colorful vegetables and fruits in his meals. I figured if it helps my heart and brain, it'll probably help my hair too, he laughed. And you know what? His hair was thick, silver, and absolutely full of life. Alright, we've already uncovered some fascinating connections between hair and health. Iron and vitamin D levels, thyroid function, oxidative stress. But we're just getting started. In the next part, we're going to dive even deeper into what your hair might be telling you about your hormones, your hydration, and even your circulation. Yes, your hair can tell you about your blood flow. So stick with me, because we're going to look at the simple changes you can make each day that not only support your hair, but can improve how you feel from head to toe. Let's keep going. So now that we've started connecting the dots between hair and things like nutrition and thyroid health, let's take a deeper look at a few more surprising ways your hair can reflect what's going on inside your body. Starting with something a lot of folks overlook, hormones. You might think hormones are only something to worry about during menopause, or maybe in your younger years. But the truth is, our hormone levels continue to shift throughout our lives, and after 70, those changes can still have a big impact, especially on our hair. Let's talk about estrogen and testosterone. In women, estrogen plays a key role in keeping hair thick and healthy. As estrogen levels drop with age, many women notice their hair becomes finer and sheds more easily. On the flip side, as testosterone becomes more dominant, it can sometimes contribute to a condition called androgenic alopecia, or female pattern hair loss. It usually shows up as diffuse thinning across the crown and part line. Now for men, testosterone levels naturally decline over time, but some older men still experience hair thinning due to sensitivity to a derivative of testosterone called DHT. DHT can shrink hair follicles over time, leading to gradual hair loss. But here's the thing, hormone-related hair changes aren't just a cosmetic issue. They're often part of a bigger picture. For instance, hormonal imbalances can affect sleep, mood, bone density, and even cardiovascular health. One woman I met, Evelyn, she's 78, had been struggling with thinning hair for years. Her doctor initially chalked it up to age, but when Evelyn started experiencing hot flashes and night sweats again, even in her 70s, she pushed for further testing. Turns out, her estrogen levels had dipped dramatically, and with some personalized treatment and better lifestyle support, she started sleeping better and noticed her hair shedding less too. "I feel like myself again," she said. That story really stuck with me because it shows how listening to your body, yes, even your hair, can lead you to answers that improve your quality of life in big ways. Another major player in healthy hair? Circulation. Good blood flow brings oxygen and nutrients to your scalp, which is essential for growing strong, healthy hair. If your circulation is poor, your scalp and your hair follicles might not be getting what they need to thrive. You might notice your hair grows more slowly, feels weaker, or looks dull. A study published in the International Journal of Trichology showed that people with certain types of hair loss had significantly lower blood flow to the scalp. And guess what can help? Movement. Walking, stretching, even gentle scalp massages. These simple acts help stimulate blood flow and nourish your hair from the inside out. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. At my age, I'm not exactly running marathons. And that's perfectly okay. You don't need to become a fitness guru to improve circulation. One man I spoke with, George, he's 80, started doing 5-minute stretching routines each morning. Just simple shoulder rolls, neck stretches, and slow walks in his backyard. After a few weeks, he said his scalp didn't feel as tight, and his barber even noticed his hair looked healthier. Small changes really can go a long way. And while we're on the topic of nourishing from the inside out, let's talk hydration. Yep, water. It might sound too basic to be important, but staying hydrated plays a huge role in your hair's appearance and strength. When your body is dehydrated, it conserves water for vital organs, and hair is pretty far down the priority list. That can lead to dry, brittle strands and a flaky scalp. Older adults are more prone to dehydration because the body's thirst signals weaken with age, and medications can contribute as well. Try this quick check. The next time you run your fingers through your hair, notice how it feels. Is it soft and supple or dry and straw-like? That might be your body's way of asking for more fluids. One easy tip is to keep a water bottle nearby during the day, even if you're just sitting and watching TV. You can also eat more hydrating foods like cucumbers, watermelon, and oranges, which give you a hydration boost along with important vitamins and antioxidants. Now let's talk stress. Yes, even in our 70s and 80s, stress plays a powerful role in how we age and how our hair looks. Chronic stress can trigger a type of hair loss called telogen effluvium, where large numbers of hair follicles go into a resting phase and shed all at once. It often shows up as sudden thinning weeks or months after a stressful event, like surgery, illness, or even emotional trauma. One remarkable study from Harvard Medical School found that stress activates certain nerves in the skin that can deplete the stem cells responsible for regenerating hair pigment. That's right, stress can literally accelerate graying. Now, that doesn't mean you can avoid all stress. It's a natural part of life. But learning how to manage it can make a big difference. Things like meditation, spending time in nature, journaling, or even talking to a friend or counselor can help keep your stress in check, and your hair happier too. I know a lovely couple, Jim and Arlene, both in their late 70s, who started doing 5 minutes of deep breathing together every morning after breakfast. They said it helped them feel calmer and more connected, and bonus, Arlene said her hair felt fuller after a few months. Maybe it's the breathing, she joked, or maybe it's just the peace of mind. Whether it's breathing, walking, or adding a few extra veggies to your plate, the key is to create a little more space each day for health and self-care. So by now, we've talked about how your hair can reflect your levels of iron, vitamin D, thyroid function, hormones, hydration, circulation, and stress. Pretty amazing, right? Hair really is like a health barometer, and when we start to read the signs, we can respond with habits that uplift every part of our well-being. But here's the thing, knowing what to do is just the first step. The real magic happens when we learn how to stay motivated and keep these healthy changes going, even when life gets busy or our energy feels low. And that's exactly what we'll explore in the next part. I'll share inspiring stories from real people in their 70s and 80s who turned their health around, plus science-backed strategies to help you stay consistent, stay energized, and feel your best, one day at a time. Sound good? Let's keep going. You're doing great, and your body and your hair will thank you for it. If you're enjoying this so far and want more simple, science-backed tips to stay healthy as you age, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We share helpful videos just like this every week, and I'd love for you to be part of this growing community of lifelong learners and wellness seekers. Now let's dive into something we don't talk about enough: how to stay motivated and actually apply what we're learning. Because here's the truth, information is only powerful when we act on it. And I know that building new habits in your 70s or 80s isn't always easy. Maybe your energy isn't what it used to be, or maybe you've got aches and pains that slow you down. But that doesn't mean you can't make meaningful changes. In fact, it's often the small, consistent steps that bring the biggest rewards. Let me tell you about a gentleman named Paul. He's 72, retired, and had been noticing hair thinning for years. At first, he chalked it up to just getting older, but when his daughter pointed out that he was also feeling more tired and seemed down lately, he decided to get a checkup. His blood work showed low vitamin D, mild anemia, and early signs of insulin resistance. Instead of giving up or feeling overwhelmed, Paul took a simple approach. He added a vitamin D supplement, started taking short walks after breakfast, and swapped out sugary snacks for fruit and nuts. Within 2 months, he told me, "I'm sleeping better, my energy is up, and my hair, well, it actually feels a little fuller." Was it a miracle? No. But it was consistent, mindful change, and that's what really works. And here's what science tells us about that. A study from Johns Hopkins University found that even adding just 10 extra minutes of movement a day can lower your risk of chronic illness and improve longevity. Think about that, 10 minutes. That's less time than it takes to watch a sitcom rerun. So if you're feeling like big changes are too much right now, start small. Choose one habit you can improve this week. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's getting sunlight first thing in the morning. Or maybe it's something as simple as massaging your scalp for a few minutes each night to boost circulation. Now let's talk about another challenge many older adults face: pain. Whether it's arthritis, joint stiffness, or just a body that's been through a lot over the decades, discomfort can get in the way of healthy habits. But ignoring it or pushing through without support can backfire. The good news? There are plenty of gentle ways to stay active and engaged that are also easy on the body. Chair yoga, water aerobics, tai chi, even gardening can improve circulation, flexibility, and mood. I once met a woman named Shirley, 79 years young, who started attending a silver sneakers class at her local gym. She told me, "I went for the movement, but I stayed for the friendships." And wouldn't you know it, just a few months in, her hairstylist noticed her hair had more shine and bounce. "Must be all that endorphin-powered hair growth," she laughed. And she's not wrong. Movement supports your lymphatic system, boosts your mood, and helps regulate hormones. All things that can contribute to a healthier head of hair. But let's not forget another key factor: emotional well-being. You see, one of the most underestimated parts of healthy aging is connection. Studies show that people who stay socially engaged live longer, feel happier, and are less likely to experience memory loss. And guess what? That mental and emotional vitality often shows up physically. Yes, even in your hair. Have you ever noticed how people who are joyful and engaged in life seem to glow, even in their 70s or 80s? It's real. Positive emotions support your immune system and reduce the stress hormones that can wreak havoc on your hair and overall health. One lovely viewer, Marie, shared her story with us recently. She's 85, widowed, and had been feeling isolated for a long time. Her hair had become thin and brittle, and she felt like she was fading. Then she started attending a weekly storytelling group at her community center. She said, "It gave me something to look forward to." And after a few months, her outlook shifted, and so did her hair. "It's still gray," she joked, "but at least now it has a little life to it." That story touched me deeply because it reminded me how powerful connection is, whether it's with others, with nature, or even with ourselves. So here's something to reflect on. What brings you joy? Is it music, painting, writing letters to old friends? Whatever it is, make room for it in your routine. Not just because it feels good, but because it nourishes your whole being. And as we wrap up this part of the video, let's talk mindset. Because your mindset, your beliefs about aging, health, and your own potential can shape your future in ways you may not expect. If you believe your best years are behind you, your body may respond accordingly. But if you believe there's still room to grow, to improve, to thrive, well, that opens the door to all kinds of possibilities. Harvard researchers once did a fascinating study where they brought a group of older men into a retreat designed to mimic life 20 years earlier. They dressed in clothes from that era, read magazines from the past, and talked about their lives as if it were still the 1950s. After just a week, these men showed measurable improvements in strength, posture, and even vision, all because they shifted their mindset. So what would happen if you treated yourself not as someone in decline, but as someone in progress? Your hair might start to show signs of that too, maybe not in color or thickness alone, but in texture, vitality, and the way it reflects the healthier, more vibrant you. Alright, so we've talked about motivation, overcoming pain, movement, joy, connection, and mindset. That's a lot of powerful stuff. But we're not done yet. In our final part, we'll tie everything together. I'll share a few simple but powerful takeaways, highlight one last fascinating scientific insight, and leave you with an easy challenge you can start today. One that could change the way you age, from your scalp to your soul. Let's finish strong. You've come this far, and your journey's just getting better. You've made it to the final part of this video, and I just want to say, I'm so glad you stuck with me. If there's one thing we've learned together, it's that aging doesn't mean giving up on your health. In fact, it means stepping into a new chapter with more wisdom, more intention, and more power than ever before. So let's take a moment to reflect on what we've covered. We started by talking about how your hair isn't just about looks, it's a messenger, a storyteller. It can whisper early warnings about nutritional deficiencies, hormone changes, stress, circulation, and even chronic diseases. We saw how thinning or brittle hair might signal low iron, vitamin D, or omega-3 levels. How sudden changes could be tied to thyroid shifts or even medications you're taking. And how hair texture and scalp condition can reflect your body's hydration, protein intake, and overall resilience. And through it all, we saw something else, that small daily habits make a big difference. Whether it's adjusting your diet, moving your body, managing stress, or simply getting a little more sunshine, every choice you make sends a signal to your body. Let me share one last story with you, because this one's personal. A few years ago, my Aunt Ruth turned 75. She was always full of life, loved to garden, paint, and host her famous Sunday brunches. But over time, her hair began to dull and fall out in clumps. At first, she blamed age. "This is just what happens," she'd say. But something in her voice told me she wasn't convinced. With a little encouragement, she visited a holistic physician who discovered she had a zinc deficiency, elevated cortisol levels, and was borderline diabetic. Ruth made some simple changes, added more whole foods, started meditating 10 minutes a day, and took a zinc supplement. 6 months later, her hair hadn't just improved, she had her glow back. Not just on her head, but in her spirit. She looked and felt alive again. And to this day, she tells everyone, take care of your body, and it will take care of you. Even your hair. Now, let's look at one more fascinating scientific insight before we wrap things up. Dr. Michael Greger, a renowned physician and nutrition expert, has often emphasized how plant-based, nutrient-rich diets can drastically lower the risk of chronic illness. In fact, research shows that people who adopt healthier eating patterns, like the Mediterranean diet, tend to have better hair health, stronger nails, clearer skin, and improved energy. One large review published in the journal Nutrients found that diets rich in antioxidants, lean proteins, and healthy fats directly contribute to scalp and follicle health. That means what you eat can influence not just how you feel, but how you show up in the mirror. And remember, it's never too late. The human body is remarkably resilient, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. So here's my final challenge to you, just one small thing to start with. Choose one of the habits we talked about today and commit to it for the next 7 days. Maybe it's a daily scalp massage, or adding a handful of walnuts to your breakfast for healthy fats, or drinking an extra glass of water before each meal. Whatever it is, do it with purpose and track how you feel. Because aging isn't about watching time pass. It's about making time count. You have so much life ahead of you, and your hair, whether thick or thin, silver or salt and pepper, deserves to be part of that journey. And here's the beauty of it all. Every step you take to care for your hair is really a step toward caring for your whole self. So go ahead, embrace the journey. Celebrate your wisdom. Own your health. Your body, your heart, and yes, your hair will thank you. We'd really love to hear from you. If you have any suggestions for future topics or questions you want answered, write to us in the comments below. We're here to help, and your input could inspire our next video. And if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on more practical tips for healthy aging. Here's to living your best life at any age.